All right. What's up, everybody? It's PT Sports 84. Um, Here, basically, it is NBA 2K23 release. And so, what I wanted to do is um, go over the classic and all time team rosters in NBA 2K23. Just wanted to dive into those real quick. Going to do a couple different live broadcasts. Going to go through the classic and all-time teams, all of the draft classes from 1960 to 2021. And then uh, go through there and just look at who all the draft classes has, and then also go through the current teams, look for updated players, things like that. Um, and Then I think what I'll do is maybe round out, closing it out with the NBA eras a little bit later this morning. Really want to dive into those when I get more sleep. Took a little power nap, but wanted to go ahead and get this stream out because of the classic and all time teams. What's interesting to note with the classic and all time teams is pretty much since 2K18, um, myself and a couple other, people on Twitter have really pushed through to get a lot of players added into the game, helping 2K and things like that. So, you know, not every player wants to be in things like that, but especially like Phaleem 2002. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. And Kerry Williams. Us three are pretty, um, you know, diligent about getting guys in. But anyway, let's go to the let's see, classic. Let's pick a league. Interesting. Where is the? Okay, pick a roster type. I guess it's if you create a roster. I guess this. Okay, here we go. Okay, it looked a little different this year. Just was confused for a second. Let's see. Looking at that, just want to make sure I'm navigating everything right. I will come back to the current teams, but I want to go through and look at the classic teams. Okay, perfect. It's just like normal. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything I was missing going that way. I'll come back to the current teams last, but going through the classic teams, let's see who's added, who's removed. Right off the bat, I know that Sam Jones is taken out of the roster. Obviously, Sam Jones passed away. Celtics great there. It doesn't look like 2K's added anybody. Ron Bonham, Willie Knowles, and Bevo Nordman are still not in the game. Those guys are pretty hard to get, to be honest, because obviously they're older. They've already passed away. There's no social media. Trying to get family members to really push to get them in is very difficult. And then on top of that, um, getting the MBRPA and then 2K on board with all of that is just a nightmare, basically. Just trying to get all of that. Doesn't look like anybody's added to the 64-65 Lakers either. Still missing Walt Hazard, Leroy Ellis, um, Daryl Imhoff, Jerry Grote, Bill McGill, Cotton Nash, and Gene Wiley. A little surprised that they don't have Jerry Grote, Daryl Imhoff, and Cotton Nash added because those guys are all in the MBRPA. Um, and, you know, should easily be able to be added. Just Jay Beats, is Josh Smith still in? My understanding he is. I will get to the all-time teams in just a minute. Just like to go over these teams and just let you know who's in and out in kind of detail. first. Um, Looking at the uh, classic team, the 71 Bucks. I thought Bob Boozer would be in because he's also in the NBRPA, but he's not added. Bob Greason's not added. McCoy McLemore, Jeff Webb, Marv Winkler, and Bill Zoff. None of those guys are in. What's up, Ticos? Yeah, man, it's 2K23 season, man. Can't wait to see your player face updates and your accessories roster and all that good stuff. Anybody that doesn't know Ticos Takori, make sure you follow him. Great guy. We've coordinated in the past as far as updates and things like that. Whenever it's player likeness updates and things like that, we kind of bounce off who we see in the game and things like that. Really, I think helps his videos and he's getting out there. He's on camera now. I still haven't gotten there. I'm not really into the that kind of doing the whole YouTube thing that way. I like to just talk a little bit of roster stuff and go about my way. But anyway, looking at the 70-71 Lakers, they could have added Pat Riley in, Jim McMillan in as well, but they looks like they didn't here. They're still missing, along with Happy Hairston and Ernie Killiam. Happy Harrison's one that I would love to eventually see in, but being that he passed away, it's just going to be so difficult to get him. Definitely think they could get Jim McMillan and Pat Riley in at some point. I just don't know that they put a ton of effort into the older classic teams just because of how much they put into the NBA eras for the MyNBA. So 71-72 Knicks. Nobody added there either. Kind of interesting there. Greg Fillmore is the only one that they really could have gone after and gotten. Dean Meminger, Eddie Miles, and Charlie Palk are also missing. 76 Sixers, 76-77 Sixers. Caldwell Jones is missing. He's in the NBA RPA. Would have thought they would have added him. It doesn't look like they got him at all. That's unfortunate, which means he's probably not in the NBA eras as well. Terry Furlow's the other one missing. We jump over to the Milwaukee Bucks, the 84-85 team. Paul Thompson and Chris Angler were the only two missing that weren't already on the roster. They're still not there. We finally get to some added players here. 85-86 Bulls. Gene Banks is finally in the game. Here he is. He's a created player right now. Bailey McKinney is added as well. McKinney actually got waived early in the season, but it looks like they're kind of doing a mix this year of opening night rosters and then also the end of season rosters. I actually prefer for outside of the NBA eras, I prefer to go with the end of season playoff rosters, but it looks like they were trying to get people in here and they didn't really necessarily do their due diligence by adding McKinney. But so be it. At the end of the day, we'll take them. The Celtics looks like Greg Kite finally got added. That's good. He's been in the NBA RPA for a while now. Still missing Dave Thirdkill and Rick Carlisle as far as the team goes. You could throw in Sly Williams if you really wanted to, even though you got waived earlier. Hey, Thundershack, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm going to go over the NBA era rosters. I may end up going ahead and doing that. I thought about doing it later when I got a little bit more sleep, but I'm kind of a little bit energized now. So, yeah, I think I'll go over that. I'll get to it in just a little bit. This will be archived on YouTube, so for anybody that's, bored with the classic teams per se, and just wants to wait on the NBA eras or anything like that, you can always watch the archive stream. Everything goes up on my YouTube page as well. So looking at the Hawks, nobody added here. I thought for sure they would have gotten John Battle at some point, but I guess not. Johnny Davis has a new face that looks pretty good. Looking at the 86, 87 Lakers. Funny thing with the Lakers, it took them forever to get Frank Brakowski off the team. For those that don't know, Frank Brakowski and Peter Goodmanson were traded for Michael Thompson. For about 6 years, they had both Brakowski and Thompson on the team together, which was kind of funny. Um, Going back to the Bulls, I didn't talk about. I saw where Ronnie got in touch with Ronaldo Woolridge, which is Orlando's son, and trying to get Orlando Woolridge in. So that would be a huge get if we can get him back on the 85-86 Chicago Bulls. I would definitely be happy about that. The Lakers, the only one they really could have added was Mike Smirik. He's in the NBA RPA. Adrian Branch, I don't think you're ever going to get just because of the likelihood of getting in touch with him, things like that. Um, ooh, Michael Williams is added here. This was Michael Williams' rookie year, and they have him at an 84 overall. This must be some kind of mistake that they didn't catch from maybe the NBA eras, because if they're probably looking at the 91, 92, I believe he played for the Pacers at that point, and really good defensively and things like that. But that 84, ooh, I'm going to have to send in some feedback on that one. That 84 is definitely wrong. Somebody did not check these. Looking at the Bulls, they don't really have anybody. I think Jack Haley is the only one that would have been added here. And obviously, Jack Haley passed away a number of years ago, so it was hard to get him. Finis Denbo was the other one for the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, Thundershack definitely inflated rating there. I'm going to go through and just kind of keep an eye on the ratings as I go now. Now that really smacks you in the face of like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that should be that high. The Cavaliers, Derek Chivos and John Morton are the two. They were out last year. They're out again this year. Nobody new added here. Bulls, nobody added here. Last year they added Dennis Hobson. No updated face for him this year. The Lakers, looks like they got two new players here. Terry Teagle, and Terry Teagle's got a face too. That's a good looking Terry Teagle. And Tony Smith, that's a good Tony Smith as well. Good to see both of them added. Irving Thomas still has the generic face from last year. There. Let's see. Just trying to go through. Unfortunately, the way I have everything situated, my mic and all that stuff is at one point, and then I have my spreadsheet on the other. If I would have thought about it a little bit, or I would have shifted my PS5 to my second monitor, but right now I've got it on my TV, so we'll know to switch that up for next time so I don't have to turn sideways. But looking at the Trailblazers. Ooh, yeah, good question. Yes, that's good catch on that. Oh, just all around not paying attention. 2K. Whoever put these together just threw it together on a spreadsheet. Real quick, for anybody that doesn't know how the roster stuff works, I'm not letting out any like internal secrets or anything like that, but it's on a Excel spreadsheet. It's not very organized at all. Spoiler, I will say, because now it's been a number of years, so the NDA is long gone. I worked on 2K17, 18, and a little bit of 19. And yeah, let's just say it was a lot of work. At the time, I had a newborn and all that stuff, and so also had a full-time job. So it was a contracted position. Tried to fix the tendencies, get them up to date. Worked well for 17 and a little bit for 18, and then it just the communication with the dev that I was working under didn't go as I thought it was or how he thought it was. We both I think we're misinterpreting each other along the way. And then it was just kind of like I was at a loss with some of the new tendencies that were put in because there was no scale to go off of, nothing from the engineers, and um, you know, it just that's just how it is. You know, sometimes things work great as you anticipate, and other times it's just not as what you expected, and it is what it is. Ooh, Allah Abdenabi added, nice. Finally get him in. I reached out to him at least 3 years in a row trying to get him in, so I'm glad 2K did their part there to get him in. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Doesn't look like Wayne Cooper is in. Let me check something. Hunter Iggy, I did not. I must have been looking to the side when your question popped up. I didn't see it. I'm looking at it as I'm streaming on the TV. So, what's up, Midwest? I didn't see it. I'm gonna check something real quick because it doesn't look like the roster update went through for the game, and so I'm actually on outdated rosters. Yes, I am. Let me back out real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Let me connect here, see if it'll connect, and then update because it didn't update like I thought it was going to update for some reason. That's weird that it wouldn't update. Here we go with contacting the 2K server, which is going to take 35 minutes, and then come back. There's a problem with your connection. New Year, same 2K servers, unfortunately. Let's see if it connects. Michael Jordan is in the Kobe era. There we go. Update required. Perfect. That's what I wanted. That way I can get the roster update. So sorry about that, guys. I thought it would have triggered automatically because I updated everything before I started 2K. So I thought it would have updated, but apparently I guess not. So who knows? We sit and wait. Wayne Cooper is in. I know that because of a video I saw prior that kind of cycled through some of the players, and he was on there. And that's what caught my attention, actually, to know that I was using the outdated roster. Wayne Cooper was not there. Because in the default, he is not there. Spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't know, Chris Webber was taken out of the game in that roster update that you're about to see here. Let's see. Will it let me? How I'll know is the update is there. We go. Okay, it's updated now because it has the rookies and the two-way guys and stuff like that in the regular roster. Okay, let's just go back through, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Gene Banks didn't get an update. Okay. Greg Kite's still the same. Hopefully with this update, maybe they fixed never mind. Spoke too soon. Thought maybe they fixed Michael Williams's overall, but apparently not. Okay, there he is. Wayne Cooper's there. Because Wayne Cooper was in last year. I thought, even though he passed away, he is in the NBA MBRPA. I always put the A in there. It's MBRPA. He is in the MBRPA, and so that kind of has a little bit of a legacy that they can push his paperwork through a little bit easier once they're already in there. It's hard once you're not because then you got to go to the estate of the player, make sure it goes through any kind of legal ramifications, and then go from there. So doesn't look like there's anybody added to the Golden State Warriors. I'm actually going to, just to save a little bit of time, I'm not going to go through who should be there unless it's a bigger name. I do have spreadsheets that are continually updated, and so I will link those. Actually, they're pinned to my Twitter profile. So if you go to the first tweet, they are pinned there. I'll continually update them. Anybody that's in yellow or like a lighter shade of blue is missing for a reason. If it's lighter shade of blue, they might be on a roster in the NBA eras, but then they have notes to the side. If they're in yellow, that means they're missing. So just so in case anybody wants to read those, but looking at the Bulls, nobody new added there. Nobody would have been added to the Hornets because there wasn't anybody to add. Oh, I'm disappointed. Larry Robinson gets added, and he has Leandro Barbosa's picture. Luckily, he does not have his face, but he has his portrait. So I will have to give that for feedback. Carl Herrera gets added. Great to see that, but he is age 18. That is not correct. He should be age 27 here and age 33, I believe. 31 maybe. I think, no, 31 on the Spurs. So, yeah. So what's funny is 2K does this every year. There's always like one player that 2K never gets like or always messes up with their portrait, adds it on to the wrong player or something like that, and then it takes them like 6 months to get that taken out. Even though on a spreadsheet it's literally a 4-digit number and you take it out. Anybody that's used the PC and has used the tools modifier, it's basically the same thing in that tools program, but think of it as an Excel spreadsheet of what you're doing. And that's what 2K does. So, it's just interesting. Interesting here, no Kevin Brooks, even though he is in the MBRPA as well. Nobody new on the team. Greg Kite gets added here, even though he was waived in like February of that year. I guess you could let it pass if you really want to add an extra player. I really would have liked to seen Anthony Mason here. Anthony Mason, I've talked to both of his sons, and both were on board of getting him in. He signed in, or his son got him signed to the MBRPA. Thought everything was good there. There must be some kind of hiccup with with 2K themselves. I will say not Anthony Jr., but his other son, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but his other son said that basically, yeah, he'd be all for it if Ronnie would put his music on the soundtrack. And that was a big pause for me because I was just like, wait, that's not going to happen. So luckily, Anthony Jr. stepped in and basically was like, yeah, we can get it done. And apparently, it's still not, not official or anything like that. Anthony Event is in the MBRPA, but he's not here. No updates for the Magic. Jason Caffey finally added. That does not look like Jason Caffey. Oh. The one thing to note, too, 2K does not do a very good job whenever they get generic players in. They really should take templates from the community and throw, $10 a player or something to, whatever creator they take that render from. That's what I would do, just so we can get authentic looking caps if you can't officially get their face in. Yes, definitely would hope that Anthony Mason can be added at some point. I mean, he's a key guy that a lot of people ask about, especially if it's just whenever the Hornets, if you're looking at them as far as an all-time team, obviously the Knicks here. You could even, if you wanted to argue, you could put them on the all-time Knicks over somebody like Julius Randle. But is what it is. No updates for the Sonics. Sherelle Ford, I got in touch with, but I don't think he ever sent paperwork in. Have no idea where Steve Scheffler is to get a hold of him. Looks like the Heat filled out their roster. Ed Pinkney is in. He will need an updated face. That one's not the worst though. Willie Anderson, that one looks really good. Glad to see Willie Anderson in officially. Looks like that's it. Matt Fish was in last year. They're still missing Vashawn Leonard and Mark Strickland. Um, Mark Strickland's and Vashawn Leonard, they're both in the MBRPA. I talked to Vashawn Leonard's daughter like 2 years ago, and that's how he got in the MBRPA, but I guess nothing was agreed to with 2K, so here we are. The Bulls, did they update Burrell? A little bit better looking. Scotty Burrell, I guess, looks more like him. Randy Brown's still a cap. That's disappointing. I was hoping they would update him, especially with the Jordan Challenge mode. Um, let's see. Nothing for the Jazz. Really, the Jazz actually don't have anybody. I don't know why they keep this open spot here. One thing I'll have to check later. I won't do it tonight, but I'll have to check later. Is whenever you do a my league, type thing, if they have the limit of players again, where it has to be 14 or whatever, or if they fix that this year. The Lakers, Sean Rooks is really the only one that I care about here. Missing Mario Bennett, you could add. You could add Shea Seals, but not as worried about them. Let's see. Okay. All right. Oh, is that Derek Fisher updated? I think that's updated Derek Fisher, actually. Yeah, it looks updated to me. Oh, you can turn the players and stuff this year. I love how you can go through and change the players and just edit on the fly here. So you can just kind of edit through, um, as you're going. Okay. Anyway, so nobody's added there. Let's go to the Spurs. Willie Burton was in last year. Vinny Del Negro's got an updated face. That looks nice. About damn time we get a Vinny Del Negro update. That old Vinny Del Negro was from like 2K11, 2K12, whatever it was. Malik Rose is in. Great to see that finally. How the hell is Malik Rose a small forward at 6'1", 255? What the hell? Oh man, this is terrible. You could tell 2K did not have anybody review these beforehand. That's another note I'll have to make. Malik Rose, Carl Herrera, age 18. Come on, got to get better with these things. 2K. They always get innovative when it comes to new things, but then the old things don't get updated, that well. Yeah, I don't think he was updated. Midwest. No, still the same. Still the same Hori. I don't really get into as much with a player like a Ori if their face is there, but when it comes to somebody like Moses Malone, I saw where they added the goggles because of the 8990 Hawks, and then they make that the render for the Sixers, the all-time Sixers, and I'm hoping when I get to them in a few minutes, I'll be able to change that. Yeah, definitely ready for the small ball era. What's funny is Malik Rose used to be the vice president of the NBA or PA or something like that at one point. So it's just kind of funny that they shortchanged him there. No updates there for terrible Kurt Thomas. No updates for the Knicks. I was hoping Rick Brunson or Chris Childs would eventually get added. I tried to reach Jalen to get Rick in, his dad, but he never responded. And then Chris Childs, multiple people has reached out and he said yes, but I guess 2K just doesn't care. No updates, it looks like, for the Raptors. Michael Stewart, I've talked to numerous times, got him in touch directly with 2K. They spoke. Everything looked like it. I guess it was trending towards going through, and then I don't know what happened. So like maybe a month and a half ago, I put Michael, aka Yogi, um, in touch with Scott Rochelle, which is the president of the MBRPA, and so hopefully that'll get rectified in the next year, sometime this year, hopefully. His son is amazing, Sean Stewart, Duke recruit for 2023. So be pretty cool to see Yogi. And looks like Antonio Harvey finally gets added. He's a member of the MBRPA. Obviously, Rasheed Wallace is not in, or otherwise 2K would have spammed the hell out of that. Barkley and Reggie Miller. That's what got me when people were like, is Reggie and Charles Barkley in? And it's like, don't you think 2K would have like literally had so many things highlighting that, and you would have had Ronnie sitting there like with a poster of Charles Barkley trying to BS everybody, saying that that was one of his favorite players as a kid, and some sorry ass Chris Brickley video with Ronnie trying to shoot like Reggie Miller, something tacky like that he always does. That would have been the promotion that they would have put out if that was, what they were going for. But they did it to themselves with Rasheed Wallace. It's a money thing, and then they screwed him over with what they told him he was going to get paid, and then they paid him less, and they pretty much did it to themselves. There, I don't think we'll ever see Rasheed Wallace in, just out of principle. Raja Bell is in. That's looks like is that, I can't tell if that's an older render. Yeah, that's an old render of Raja Bell, but I could be wrong. That looks like an older render. Kevin Ollie is in. Finally, that is not Kevin Ollie. But okay. Kevin Ollie is in. And Kevin Ollie was not a three-point shooter like that, but okay. Whatever they want to come up with. He was not a shooting guard either. Interesting. 2K, man. I'm really going to have to put some feedback notes together for these classic teams. Rodney Buford still in as a small forward. That's incorrect. Rashawn McLeod is in. He's in there because he's in the MBRPA. They don't have Juan Pepe Sanchez in. Juan Pepe Sanchez is in the game. He was in my team last year, added, and he's on the Pistons in the NBA Eras mode. So I know he's in the game. Lakers, Mike Penberthy was in last year. They're missing Slava Medvedenko here. This is where it gets interesting. Notice anybody missing anyone? Chris Webber is now out of the game. I think, just based on how Chris Webber is, in my personal opinion, he got pulled from the broadcast team, and then obviously doesn't do broadcasting anyway. And then, he asked 2K for an exclusive deal, get paid a certain amount, and maybe it didn't work out. Because it's funny that he was in the default roster and now all of a sudden he's out. Similar to Brandon Roy last year, when it came down to, hey, like, I think I should be getting paid this to be in the game. How about it? And then 2K is like, well, we only pay Michael Jordan an exclusive amount, for that kind of thing. And maybe a couple other players, but, they just didn't pony up the money. So that's what it comes down to. No Mateen Cleaves, no Brent Price. Which doesn't surprise me. Neither, actually, I think Brent Price is in the NBA RPA. I'll have to double check that. But Mateen Cleaves is not. I've tried multiple times to get Cleaves. Whatever. This I have a hard time ever seeing the Nets being fleshed out as far as a completed team because of Lucius Harris, Brandon Armstrong, Donnie Marshall. All those guys are not in the NBA RPA. And Lucius Harris I can't find him. If I could find him and get in contact, that would be great if somebody knows how to do that or knows knows somebody that knows him or something. But he's like impossible to find. So no luck there. If anybody notices anything that looks wrong on the screen that I'm not catching because I'm talking and looking down and all that stuff, as far as like vitals or anything like that, not necessarily like ratings unless they're like really really bad. Um, Let me know so I can see it because these comments will come back through. Actually, Chris Webber is in the draft classes. I've already exported him. I will upload him to 2K Share uh, sometime today. I went ahead and did that already because I knew he probably won't be there for long. So I want to go ahead and get his render, and then you can just add him in. He just won't have the picture, the portrait of Sacramento and stuff like that. But I don't really care that much as long as the render's in. Even though it's a bad render and it needs updating, it's better than a cap creation. I'm not much for the cap creations over a actual render unless it's just so much better, which usually that's not the case. Looking at the Mavericks, Raja Bell's added here. Okay. All right, 2K. This is where I got to draw the line. Do they know who the hell Tariq Abdul-Wahad is? He's not white. Really? A generic white dude? Are you freaking kidding me? I'm trying not to curse because I don't want to get flagged on YouTube or anything like that. Wow. Okay. Yeah. 2K just did not care when it came to updating these. They just threw them on there on a spreadsheet and left it alone. Evan Eschmeyer. Yeah, Brian Cardinal. Exactly. That's who I was actually thinking of in my head, and that's funny. Evan Eschmeyer gets an update from last year. Popeye Jones' face was done last year by Razor, so it looks great. And just so real quick, anybody that shits on the art team for their renders the artist renders, not the caps, the artist renders. I mean, come on. They're hand drawing these players that were like retro players and basically doing it from scratch. The ones that people think look great as far as like modders and things like that, they're using a different texture scale that 2K doesn't use. And so it's a lower resolution render, so you can basically drop a photorealistic picture onto the render and then scale it to size. And that's how the modders do. And I'm not shitting on modders. It's just like I see a lot of modders say, "Oh, well, this was created by the internal 2K team, and it looks like crap. Look at mine." And it's like, well, yeah, if I could just drop a picture on at a lower resolution, that would look great. But that's not how 2K works. They have to do it through a specific rendering system and things like that. So it is what it is. And they're not perfect, so I'm not going to sit there and stick up all the way for 2K, but I mean, cut them some slack, you know. And just also, they don't get a choice of who's picked because the NBA basically works with the MBRPA and then 2K to try to work to see what guys they can get in to the game, things like that. They have to be approved. So just so everybody knows, because they're always like, well, why can't you just create Michael Dickerson or whatever, like off the rip and put them in? It's like it doesn't work that way. They got to get approval first. It's got to go through 3 different entities first, then it gets put in the game. But that's my rant. I'm not gonna go on and on and on. Joe Johnson added here finally. He was in last year. Thank God the Celtics signed him last year because I was so excited. Number one, because I like Joe Johnson and he was back where he started. And then number 2, that means that he would be in the game this year. So they're missing a bunch of players here like Jake Voskuhl, Jake Sakalidis. I'm not going to get those guys. I thought Jake Voskuhl would have been in a couple years ago because he was in the hidden files. But I've never seen Sakalidis. I've never seen Alton Ford or Dan Lange either in there. So who knows with those. Lakers, Medvedenko, and Ime Udoka. Surprised they don't get Udoka because he's the coach of the Celtics. So would have thought they would have eventually got him in. No update for Kareem Rush figures. Of course, this is always a sore subject for everybody. No Rasheed Wallace, no Tayshaun Prince, no Mehmet Okur. I've tried to get Mehmet Okur in the game literally since 2K18. He doesn't respond to messages. Don't think he's interested. Tayshaun Prince works in the Grizzlies front office. tried to contact them, got a reply back that they'd passed the message along, and nothing else from there. Mike James gets added here. Same render he's always had. Still looks decent. Michael Olowokandi. I can't remember how to pronounce that. Oh, nice. Artist render by 2K that looks good to me. Does he have the ability to change his hair? Style 1 and 2, but it doesn't look like it does anything. Yeah, when you change it between 1 and 2, it doesn't do anything. Interesting. Oliver Miller is in. Okay, that's a generic looking Oliver Miller. Okay. All right. Does 2K know that Oliver Miller was fat? I don't fat shame, but I mean, Oliver Miller was a big boy. That is not a big boy. That's like a medium, like, I ate fast food for a summer, build. Not, I've been eating fast food since I was 14, 5 Big Macs a day, fat, like Oliver Miller was. They're missing Derek Martin. I personally spoke to Derek Martin, got him in the MBRPA, and then thought he would be in, but apparently not. Reached out to Rasha Nesterovich, heard back. He said he's interested. Didn't really progress from there. Of course, he's not in. They still have Tony Massenberg looking young here. He was old at this point. Mike Wilkes isn't in. Devin Brown tried to get Scoop Robinson, the reporter, and he wanted to, I'm going to put Scoop on blast a little bit. Scoop wanted to know, more or less if there was a referral fee for Devin Brown, and I was like, not that I know of. I don't work for 2K. I just was trying to get him in the game, but whatever, and he ghosted me after that, so, whatever. Let's see, Walter McCarty is in the game. Okay, that's a decent cap for now. Hopefully they can get him updated at some point. Let's see, Vasco would be here. Looks like decent roster. I like it because now I don't have to spend as many hours filling in these teams. Come on, 2K. They have Pau Gasol and the NBA Aries on the 02-03 Grizzlies. They have them in the draft classes, and they don't add them here. It just tells you right there that they don't give a shit about, these classic rosters. They put all their effort into the era mode, more or less, and they didn't go back and check this. Got in touch with Lorenzen Wright's daughter. She liked my comment, but never commented back as far as anything like that. Nobody else I've been able to get as far as this roster, except for Chucky Atkins, who said that he signed paperwork. So hopefully at some point Chucky Atkins will get added here, and then the 07-08 Nuggets. No updates for the Miami Heat, and then we're looking at 4 years, maybe 5 years in, and Shandon Anderson still a 62 overall, but then they bump up Derek Anderson to a 79. I mean, come on. Oh my God. Shannon Brown gets updated here. Good to see they have the actual render with the cornrows that he had. Whatever at that point. Touch base with. Yeah, he is in my team. Yeah, I'll go to the NBA Airs. I'll fix the title of my video, adding in the NBA Airs, because I'm just gonna do it all in one swoop, rather than separate the videos, because there's no point at this point to separate them out, because everybody else is gonna have content out, and then it gets so far pushed down just because my channel is just like a casual channel. These big time YouTubers with their thumbnails and half the knowledge, they get thousands and thousands of views, and mine never gets touched. So just want to get quality info out. Yeah, I'm going to go to the errors. Let me go ahead and speed through these just so I can get to that. Patrick O'Brien. Jesus. Patrick O'Brien with, I don't know what the hell kind of hairstyle. He didn't even look like that at all. He's lighter skinned. And come on, 2K. No additions here. I would love to see Mikael Petrus and Andres Spiedrins at some point. Jarvis Hayes added here. That looks like a good face to me. Talk to Andre Blatch. Blatch is good to go at some point. Can't get Calvin Booth. Can't get Darius Sangailas. Sangailas said no. One of the few players that I've ever talked to that said no. Calvin Booth can't even get in touch with now that he's the Denver, works for Denver's front office. Let's see. Eddie House is in. Awesome. Is that a... Okay, that's the old 2K11 render. Gabe Pruitt's still missing. Nene, I talked to Nene. He's willing to be in. Hopefully, Ronnie or Scott, whatever. Whoever wants to work on it can get him in eventually. Like I said, Chucky Atkins eventually will be in. Talked to Torian Green as well. And got him in. So maybe he'll be added at some point, even though he didn't play that much, but still. J.R. Smith is in. Let's see what that. Oops. Of course. 2K. Old render on the, whatever. Yeah, Sangaila was just like kind of weird about it. Like at first he was like, maybe, and then he was just like flat out no. I don't get why that was. Interesting enough, Beno Udra was kind of the same way, and then Udra like at the last minute was like, hey, so who do I contact again? Like 4 months later. And so I guess somebody got in his ear and, told him about it. Chuck Hayes. All right. I was pushing to get Chuck Hayes for 2 years. He was all about it. So glad to see him in. Try to get Lauren Woods as well. So maybe Lauren Woods will get added at some point. This is a team here. The Trailblazers is hard. Dante Cunningham and who was the other one? Oh, Travis Diener were the only two that I can get a hold of. Martell Webster saw my comment and then liked it or liked my DM, but never responded to like, hey, I want to be in or anything like that. Obviously, they don't have Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy is specifically, like I said, in the same boat as Chris Webber. He got pulled late last year after the game had already launched. Let's see. How the hell do you have Kurt Thomas as an 80 overall at 38 years old on the... Jesus. That's a rating for like Luol Deng, not for Kurt Thomas. They do not have the 2010 Lakers. They are not going to get the 2010 Lakers until minimum next year. They're still trying to push to get Bynum. There was two people that knew Bynum. One turned out to not be credible, and the other one was credible. Touched base with him, and then ghosted one of the devs that I put him in touch with when it came down to negotiations. So don't know what that was about, but doesn't look like Bynum probably is ever a go unless 2K can really push to get him themselves. They also would be able to, or would have to be able to get Ron Artest. And Artest he's just like he is anywhere else. He's very hot and cold. He was all about it at first, and then he wanted to talk to the head of 2K after we had conversations and wanted like an exclusive like right to be in the game and like all this other stuff. And I don't think 2K was about it. So that was that. Kyle Korver's in. Keith Bogans is in. Awesome. They're not going to push to get Reggie because Reggie is very much wanting, what's the best way to put it? Wanting like an exclusive content tied to himself with a lot of money tied behind it. Barclays he wants to be paid a good bit of money. I don't care what anybody says about the NBA retired players can get $1 million and I'll be in the game. That's his cover for like not wanting to sound as conceited, from what I've been told. So I don't think we'll ever see Reggie or Barkley in unless something drastic happens from 2K's side. And we all know they have Ronnie as their marketing guy, so they're not really going to put any effort into pushing anything more than they have to. So, I mean, otherwise Ronnie would not be in the position he is now. I hate to say it, but he's one of the guys that reaches out to these players, and if you've seen his method of reaching them out to them, it's basically, hey, can you shoot me a DM? Not saying anything about what it's about or anything. So you work for 2K and you're randomly contacting players and don't say what it's about. That's not sketchy. Oh, all right. Tyson Chandler. Do they have the non-bearded Chandler? Ooh, okay. Maybe. That's better than the super bearded one. JJ Barea's in. Awesome. Reached out to him to get him back in last year. Same with Corey Brewer. um, Jan Mahinmi. Thank you. Good. He was one of the first ones last year to wonder why he was not in. And I had explained to him that you lose your likeness rights. Um, yes, that's what I was thinking. The Hornets render. That's kind of what I was going for. Which reminds me, I don't know why. Now that they have Mike James back in, they have Tyson Chandler. Why they don't just throw the 07-08 Hornets in the game? You could take out that Grizzlies team from 12-13 and put in the Hornets. That would be a lot better. Jeremy Lin, 84 overall here. Okay, that's so-so, I guess. J.R. Smith, we already went through him earlier. Talked to Josh Harrelson to get him in. Dan Gadzuric is in the NBRPA. Surprised he's not here. Who did I miss here? Dominic Jones and I forgot the other one. I'm not looking at my notes because I don't want to waste anybody's time going through all that boringness. Eric Maynor is in. Awesome, because he's somebody I reached out to as well. He's not a shooting guard, though. He's a point guard. Sad they didn't add Cole Aldridge. Birdman back, although he wasn't a big piece of the team. Did they have Gennaro Pargo? He's a big fan. Yes, they have Gennaro Pargo in the game. And so he is another one that could be added. Really, the only ones that I think were key was like Rasul Butler. Obviously, he passed away tragically in a car accident. Don't think you're ever going to see him in the game again. I'm trying to think anybody else that was missing from that team. Julian Wright. I know Melvin Eli's in the game now. Man, 0708 is dating me to try to think off the top of my head on who else was in. I think that's like the majority of guys that they needed to get in. They pretty much have like 9 guys that they could put together on the team and have that team put together. So I'll send a message to see if they can get them in for next year. Pretty much any feedback you want to give about features or added teams, anything like that, needs to go out now because October is when they start really pushing towards next year. Again, the devs don't really get a break, so that's pretty much kind of how it goes. So if you want your ideas to be heard, late October is the latest you need to get those in and be concise and thorough and detailed as possible when getting them in and realistic. Yeah, like I said, look at this Memphis Grizzlies team. No point to have this team in. I don't think we'll ever see the Charlotte Bobcats team, that particular team, because there's a bunch of missing players that they'd have to get. Alexis Jinsa, off the top of my head, was out. No, Al Jefferson was on the 13-14 team. I'd have to go back through and look at the roster. Thundershack, I saw your comment out of the corner of my eye. I think you said 8 to 9, 10 guys, something like that. I just got the number out of the corner of my eye. I was trying to get a drink of water. Sorry. Yeah, but look at this team. No Marc Gasol. No, pretty much no Tayshaun Prince. No Darrell Arthur. No Austin Day. Like, this whole team is generics. Like, who the hell would play with this team? Nobody is playing with this team. You literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. This is embarrassing. 2K should have taken this team out. I mean, it's just bad. Okay, and then you have Tony Roten making $30 million on a contract. Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to look at that anymore. Chris Anderson. Good to see him back in. Joel Anthony's in the NBRPA. Surprised he's not in here. Norris Cole, I've reached out to, never have heard back. James Jones is in the NBRPA as well. They lost Aaron Baines for the Spurs. Obviously, he didn't play in the NBA last season, so he's not there. Marco Bellinelli, I've reached out to as well. So did Kenny Gaddison, which is the player coordinator for the NBRPA. So, did I miss Juwan Howard? Oh my God, Juwan Howard at 82 at 39 years old. The hell out of here. That should be like a 69 to a 70. Like, come on, 2K. Good catch there, Thundershack. I missed that. I'm glad you caught that. Lance Stevenson's back for anybody that was wondering. Glad to see him back. I can't read the whole comments, so whenever anybody types something like major, I can't read it because it's on my TV screen, so it cuts out half of it. I'd have to go back and look at it. But how long does it take to create a team? I'm guessing you mean internally. Basically, how the process works is they have to have enough of the internal vote to want that team. Then number two, have the art assets kind of put together that it's budgeting, it makes sense. Number three, get all of the players that they need to get to compile that team, and hopefully for the long term. So for the Lakers, I would say the 08-09 team would make more sense than the 09-10 because then you don't have to worry about our test. You'd have Trevor Ariza instead, which they already have. And then from there, you just got to get guys like Adam Morrison on board, which he does Gonzaga play-by-play, so he should be easy to reach. Jordan Farmar, like guys like that. Whatever. Evan Turner is back in. Jan Mahinmi. I've reached out to Chris Copeland and Donald Sloan. Both said they'd be in, willing to be in, so hopefully at some point they'll get added. No Willie Green here, which is weird because he's been the coach of the Pelicans since last year, but I'm glad they didn't lose Jared Dudley. I was worried about losing him. Even though it's minor, it's still a player that you have to create. Jamal Crawford is in. Let's see if they used a updated Jamal Crawford. No, they used the old Jamal Crawford from the NBA eras, and you can't change his hair. So what is the purpose if you can't change their hair? That must be a glitch. JJ Redick still in. Did they update his scan? Please tell me. Yes. Finally. Literally 7 years at least I've been asking them to update JJ Redick. They finally updated it. Thank God. Super happy. He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's actually born the exact day before me, same year and everything. So, yeah. They didn't lose Dellavedova. Love that. Jordan McRae is back in. Good. I reached out to Jordan like 6 months ago. So that's great that he's in. Let's make sure he's got his face, though, because before it was generic. Okay, good. They got his face. Still missing Mozgov. He doesn't respond to anything. Sasha Khan doesn't respond either. Brandon Rush is in. Awesome. Good. Brandon Rush said he was in like 3 years ago. So they finally got around to it. Sean Livingston's back. Great to see. Good. Zaza Pachulia, great. Glad he's in. He was a pain in the ass to try to put in before. From Hunter, from what I heard on the PS4, the renders, the players are there, but the faces are not. And that has to do with the technology of the scanning that they get. They're scanning now for next gen capabilities, and they have to backwards or make it backwards compatible for the what do you call it, current gen whatever, which is PS4 and all that stuff. So it takes a little bit of time. That's why you always see the updates come out first for next gen with the faces a lot of times, and then they get ported over to the other. So the rookies may be there, but the updated faces probably won't be at first until there's a patch. If you remember correctly, last year the patch came out late September, like the last week of September, and it had a ton of rookies and stuff in it. Won't be the case this year because the rookies are a lot of them are already scanned. So I'd be curious to see what they update in that first player likeness update. Looks like Erica Moreland and Jody Meeks posted they'd be in for the Raptors. Obviously, no Marc Gasol. What the hell are they doing? Jeremy Lin was barely playing for the Raptors. Why is he an 83? My notes are just going to be long and tedious. All right, all-time teams. I'm going to go ahead and do spoiler alert. Here, the all-time teams did not change that much, but I'm going to run through them real quick. The teams that did change. Oh, I want to look at George McGinnis. I know this one was fixed. Oh, I love that George McGinnis. Looks great. Finally, because he didn't have any nostrils, so he couldn't breathe before. Nobody there. Nobody different. Zach LaVine's still here. I really wish we could get Norm Van Leer added to this team, or Chet Walker. Chet Walker is in the NBRPA, so I'd love to see him eventually. No updates to the Cavs. Tatum is in. I don't get this one. Instead of adding Tatum, they could have added Cedric Maxwell to the team to replace Sam Jones, who they took out of the game. But let's get with let's go with the modern player, Jason Tatum, who, it may or may not be, an NBA champion at some point. Who knows? No update for the Clippers. I would love to one day see Randy Smith added to the game. Yes, Orlando Woolridge I would love to see in the game at some point. Midwest, you do a good job too. Earlier when I shouted out people that were trying to contact people, Midwest, you do a good job too of reaching out to former players as well. So I appreciate that help. Everybody kind of pushing, not being overly pushy, but pushing enough shows interest to the player than just me hitting everybody up saying, hey, everybody wants to see you in. Like, the players actually seeing multiple people contacting them politely is a good way to go. If you come in, why are you not in 2K? That's ridiculous. Like, they're not going to respond to that, but say, hey, like, we'd really love to see you in, and they're more susceptible to being in. What the hell? The Grizzlies had Desmond Bain in. I don't know when we'll get the Orlando Magic. I know Marcin Gortat was contacted like a couple weeks ago and said he'd be willing to be in. So, we'll see. Don't know why Desmond Bain is in. Okay. I get Ja Morant being there, but Desmond Bain, they could have at least maybe did like I would have said, if it was me personally, and maybe not everybody agrees, but you had Stromile Swift in my team, you had OJ Mayo in my team. Could you go out and get a Michael Dickerson and add him to the game? Lorenzen Wright, like all those guys, in there. But, whatever. Doesn't look like... Oh, there's Josh Smith. Somebody asked me earlier about Josh Smith. There's Josh Smith. He's still in the game. Never understood... Well, I know why Joe Caldwell's in. Even though he's good for St. Louis, he is like the... I forgot how he's related to Marvin Bagley, but he's related. And so that's probably how he got added in. But no Joe Johnson for this team. I'll be making my own all-time rosters, as I always do. And I'll be adding him there. No Lenny Wilkins either, even though he's been in, forever. But we'll see. No updates to the Heat. I would have personally had Mario Chalmers over Hassan Whiteside. Same team for the Charlotte Hornets. John Drew added to the Utah Jazz. Now I gotta look at who they took out. They took somebody out to add John Drew. Please don't tell me it's Mark Eaton. Nope, Mark Eaton's there. Okay. Anybody remember who they took out off of the team to add in? Because Darren Williams is there. I'll have to double check who they might have taken out. Daryl Griffin's there. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head who they would have taken out because Truck Robinson's there. That's who I would have taken out if I was going to add John Drew. But John Drew didn't have a good career for the Jazz. It was the Hawks that he made the All-Star teams and all that stuff with. I believe he played like 2 years maybe for the Jazz. It wasn't anything like great. Chris Webber got taken out and Lionel Simmons took his spot. So there he is. De'Aaron Fox somehow still on the team. No other updates there. No, they had taken Millsap off like 2 years ago. So he wasn't on there. I'm trying to think of who it was off the top of my head, but I don't even remember, to be honest. Let me see if I can look. I hate to like break away from it, but that's gonna bug me until I go to sleep if I don't look. Is it either Thurl Bailey or Gordon Hayward, maybe? Hayward's there. It's not Thurl Bailey's there. Carlos Boozer, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Pete Maravich, Adrian Dantley, Mark Eaton. Donovan Mitchell's still there. Rudy Gobert is still there. Who did they take off of here? I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's there from last year. I don't know. I guess I'm missing somebody. But anyway. Knicks still the same. How the hell Julius Randle's on here to begin with, I don't know, but whatever. Lakers, they don't have Pau Gasol. They need to go ahead and swap out Anthony Davis, put Pau Gasol back. No changes for the Magic. Porzingis needs to go off the Dallas Mavericks. James Harden and Kevin Durant need to bounce off the Nets. No changes for the Nuggets. No changes for the Pacers. No changes for the Pelicans. Definitely not for I know for a fact, not for the Pistons. No Jose Calderon for the Raptors. No Robert Reed for the Rockets. No changes there. No Connie Hawkins for the Suns. There's Jimmy Butler, Thunder. Sprewell should be on the Warriors, my personal preference, but no changes there. You could swap out Sprewell for Iguodala, in my personal opinion. Jason Richardson can go too. No changes there. Oh, Jeff Rowland is on Washington. Now I'm curious to see whose spot. Oh, he took Chris Webber's spot. So that was actually needed anyway. I wouldn't have kept Chris Webber on that team. Jeff Rowland made the All-Star team a couple times, just as many as Chris Webber did, I believe, at that time. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to dive into the um, NBA eras. Let's see how the hell you do that. Let's see if I can do this. Sweet. Okay. So you don't have to play the NBA eras mode, just so everybody knows. What I just did you see what I just did where I created a roster from scratch and I went in and started with this? You could basically edit it and then save it how you want to. So you don't have to go into the My NBA and do all that. So if you want to start custom rosters from here with the 80s rosters, you can. I'm going to go through all the teams now and show you who. Obviously, there's generic players here that 2K created. Usually they're in the 60s, low 60s, so that you'll know who is the creative guy. Some slip through that are in the 70s. I already looked at these, so I kind of know who's in and out. Yeah, Thundershack. I didn't know that until just now. Nobody's gone through thoroughly and started from scratch with these, so I had no clue you could even do this. I saw a couple people complaining on Operation Sports that said, "Oh, you can't edit players and save them and export them and stuff." Like, there's no need to. Like, you can do that. I do want to check one thing before we dive in. Sorry, everybody. I am obviously a huge Sixers fan. I want to look at Moses Malone. Please tell me. Thank you, 2K. Thank you. I can make Moses Malone without the goggles. That's all I wanted there. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we got Moses Malone. This is the 83 team. So 83, 84 team. So this is the year before Charles Barkley, year after they won the championship. Andrew Toney is the biggest missing one to me, the Boston Strangler. I want him in, in the game so bad. I want to, don't know why, because he's in the NBRPA. So no clue why they don't have him. Let's see, Dr. J. Yeah, these aren't changing. I think they're meant to either be slots to update later or they're just not working right. Anyway, looks like, so we've got Franklin Edwards, Clement Johnson, Clint Richardson, Mark Aviaroni, Bobby Jones, Mo Cheeks, Julius Erving, and obviously Moses Malone there. Andrew Toney, Sadale Threat, and Leo Routens are the ones that are missing. Leo Routens I talked to, he wants to be in the game. He only played a little bit, so don't know if 2K will pay to have him in or not, but is what it is. Sidney Moncrief, I'm not going to read the players off. You guys can see who they are here. Charlie Chris is a new one. He's in the NBA RPA, so we'll be interested to see if these players get updated as they go. They actually have a full team here. Pretty much everybody that was on the team. It's one of the few teams that they have everybody. These are all generics here. So we go to this small amount. The older the team, the harder it is to get players, like I explained earlier. Charles Davis, Tim McMillan, Ricky Sobers is one I'm excited for. Glad to see him in the game finally. Going over to the Bulls, just so everybody knows, they use the opening night rosters. So opening night is like October 28th for 83-84, November 1st for 91-92, and October 29th for the 2002-2003. They use those and go off of that. So no trades. Like normally Reggie Theus would be on Sacramento and Steve Johnson would end up being on the Kings, but they went with the opening night rosters. In a few cases, they had to be able to get a limit of players they wanted. They had to add players that were added like in November or whatever, like somewhere close to opening night, but not quite. So Little thin here. Ennis Watley is in. That's a good Ennis Watley. Looks like a good artist render there. They're a little thin, so they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players there. Cleveland Cavaliers. This is not Cliff Robinson from Portland. Anybody that knows the NBA, this is the other Cliff Robinson. Phil Hubbard, Jeff Houston, John Bagley, Roy Hinson, Jeff Cook, Ben Poquette. That's the team there. You got generics here with these guys. Greg Kite, as we saw earlier. Let's see. Quinn Buckner is here. Cedric Maxwell. Gerald Henderson. And I believe what's going to happen is 2K, because they're putting so much emphasis on the My NBA eras, they're going to update these renders of these retro players, because they've really gone out and scanned a lot of the rookies and stuff like that. So they may not have as many faces over the course of the year to update, so they could focus on retro players this year, since they haven't in the past. San Diego Clippers. I love that they had the San Diego Clippers in the game this year. They updated Bill Walton's render. So that's them. So they've got Hank McDowell on up. The rest of them are generics. The Atlanta Hawks. Mike Glenn, the Stinger, is in. Who's that? Ricky Brown is in. They got Armand Hill. They really, really went and got players on this team. Wes Matthews is interesting because he got waived pretty early, but he was, I guess, on the team to start with. Let's see. Utah Jazz. Ricky Green was in last year in my team, so good to see him added. John Drew, as we saw earlier. Jerry Eves is in. Bob Hansen. Bob Hansen, you may have also seen on the Bulls in the Jordan Challenge mode. So that's the guys there, ending with Bob Hansen. These guys are generics. Mark Olbering was in last year. Don Busey was in last year. LaSalle Thompson is new. That's a good render of LaSalle Thompson. Billy Knight. Glad to see him in, because now I can export him and go for the put him on the Indiana Pacers all time. Mike Woodson, Eddie Johnson, Rory Sparrow, nice to see him. Campy Russell. All right, so we've got up until Rudy Macklin, everybody above him is real players. The rest are generic. The Lakers are another team that's fleshed out pretty well. Let's see, you got Kurt Rambis. Calvin Garrett is in. They went and got Larry Spriggs, Mick Kupchak, Clay Johnson. So they really, really went and got this, squad hooked up. Mavericks, Current Nymphius is in. Oh, Jay Vincent's in. Sparnacle. All right, so Elston Turner is the guy where it stops. The rest are generic. These other two are generics. Reggie Johnson is where it stops. Foots Walker. Bill Willoughby. Mike O'Caron. Mike Kaminsky. Michael Ray Richardson. Darwin Cook. That's a scan, I believe. Not a scan, a artist render. That's a good render. Albert King as well. Looks good. These renders really look good. What do you guys think of the artist renders for some of these legends? I think they look really good. Way better than the caps. That's a cap, but like Darwin Cook and Albert King, definitely. T.R. Dunn is in. Defensive ace. Dave Robish. All right, so Greg Hubbard on down is generic. It's funny, these names, because they just, instead of just putting one name and being generic, they put these names where you think they're real players, but they're not. Like Ron Roberts is not a real player. Yeah, I've been impressed too, Thunder. Kevin McKenna is real. Butch Carter is real. Stepanovich. Ooh, Stepanovich has got a render. Nice. That looks good. Um, yes, huge shout out to Razor for all his work. Make sure you guys hit Razor up on Twitter and tell him how great of a job he's doing, because a lot of people shit on him and other artists at 2K, and they don't get the credit that they deserve, because they don't get to pick what they make. They just get a list and they have to make it from scratch. So please, please, please reach out and tell him you think he did a great job. That would really be pretty cool. I'd love to see that, just to support him and any other artists that are at 2K, but especially Razor, just because he's a great guy, and at the same time he's a great guy, he does a great work. So support the guys that you think do great work. Kent Benson's in. Oh, that's a good render of Benson. Man, they're really going out for these artist renders this year. Looks like Curitin is the cutoff. Everybody below him is generic. John Long. They could have done better there. Ooh, Alan Levell. That's a great Levell. Robert Reed is in, looking like Lionel Richie. Terry Teagle is in. That's a good Terry Teagle. Chuck Nevitt. That's another render created last year for my team. Nevitt looks like the cutoff, unless I missed. Yep, Nevitt's the cutoff. Looks like Keith Edmondson is the cutoff here. That's another render. Man, killing it with the renders this year. Disappointed Mike Mitchell's not in. Rory White is in. Charles Pittman. White looks like he's a render as well. That looks good. Oh wait, he is. James Edwards is updated. Look at that James Edwards. A lot better. You guys remember that old nasty looking James Edwards? That's a definitely vastly improved. Yes, they could have went with a bunch of caps, but they didn't. I love that they put the emphasis this year on the mode. Steve Halls, which is Spencer's dad or uncle, I can't remember which one, is in. Steve Hayes is the cutoff there. I know they're missing somebody here, and I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Calvin Nat was created last year for my team. Kenny Carr is a render. Man, did they fix? No fix to Thompson. Darno Valentine's a render. Jeff Lamp, Audi Norris, Tom Piotrowski. Piotrowski's the cutoff. Mike Bratz. Ron Brewer. Oh, that's a render of Ron Brewer. Looks good. Curtis Lawson is a fake player. They forgot to knock him down. They must have had somebody in that slot and couldn't get him. That needs to be fixed. Joe Carroll was in previous. Okay. So we can exit out of that. Let's go to the Jordan era. All right. So let's see. Ooh, Ron Anderson's a render. Jason Williams. Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne's the cutoff. Ooh, that's a short roster. Yeah, they're missing a bunch of players there. Golly, that's a lot of players missing for that Sixers team, sadly. Jay Humphreys, look at that render. Fred Roberts, looks like a new render. Jeff Grayer. No, it's a generic. Lester Connor is a generic. Steve Henson's the cutoff. Um, Ooh, they got LeBradford Smith. Anybody that wants to play that Jordan game where LeBradford went off out of nowhere. Um, AJ English. Larry Stewart's got a render. Bernard King was hurt this season. Don't know why they have him that high, but okay. Oh, Nervous Purvis is in. Nice. That doesn't look like Nervous. I can't tell if that's Purvis. Ellison. That doesn't look like. Trying to remember what Purvis Ellison looks like. I have to look him back up. Michael Adams is in. All right. Nothing major there. Danny Ferry's in from last year. Winston Bennett. Looks like Chucky Brown's the cutoff. Cutoff here is Rick Fox. Reggie Lewis. Love seeing that. Gary Grant. Ooh, Olden Polynice. Look at that render. Did some great work on these renders. Tony Brown. Elliot Perry. Bo Kimball. Anybody remember Loyola Marymount? Bo Kimball was like the superstar, and then Hank Gathers kind of was the guy there too. Kimball gets drafted by the Clippers, doesn't really pan out that well, gets traded to the Knicks, and then fizzles out. Obviously, Hank Gathers is more well known because he tragically passed away, but Hawks, let's see, John Koncak is the cutoff. Paul Graham, that's a render. Looks good. He came on later that season. Interesting they added him. Blair Edmuson, they're a little short on this roster as well. Bimbo Coles was in last year. That's a great looking render there. Great looking Grant Long. Kevin Edwards is in. Willie Burton. Looks like Sunbald is the cutoff. J.R. Reed is in. Kevin Lynch is the cutoff here. Blue Edwards with a render. Nice. Mike Brown. Eric Murdoch. Corey Crowder. Wow, they got Corey Crowder in. Andy Toulson's interesting because Andy Toulson actually sat out for the year and played in another league. Interesting. They added him in there. Dwayne Coswell is in. That's pretty cool to see. With a render. Yeah, I talked about Chris Webber missing earlier. There is a way to get him, though. I already exported him. I'll upload him to 2K Share shortly and get him. Wayman Tisdale is in. Nice. Good render there. Lionel Simmons. Ooh, Patrick Eddy is in. Patrick Eddy. Demetrius Caleb. Tony Smith. Harry Teagle. Chris Corciani. Looks like Turner is the cutoff. That's a new Jeff Turner. If anybody hasn't seen the Jordan mode with the Olympics, it's Jeff Turner. Randy White. Brad Davis is the cutoff here. Doug Smith. Drazen Petrovic, one of my favorite shooters ever. Didn't get the chance to have a long career, unfortunately. Terry Mills is in. That's good to see. Tate George, Raphael Addison, Roy Hinson, Judd Buechler, Doug Lee. Doug Lee is the cutoff here. Scott Hastings is the cutoff here. Marcus Liberty is in. Greg Cadillac Anderson is in. George McLeod is in. That does not look like George McLeod. They need to redo that. Oh, okay. That's why. That's where they got the Michael Williams from. They took him straight from here and put him there. Mike Sanders is in. That's a good Mike Sanders render. There's LaSalle Thompson. I went over him earlier. Greg Dreeling. The cutoff here is Randy Whitman. That's a good updated Randy Whitman. Here is okay, I guess. William Bedford is the cutoff here. That's a good, decent render there. I know so many out of players. Like this is taking longer than I thought it was. I kind of looked them over earlier and made some notes, but I didn't anticipate all these. I haven't even gotten to the draft classes yet. Tree Rollins is the cutoff here. Buck Johnson's added. Steve Bardo is the cutoff here. Tim Perry with a render. Richard Dumas. A lot of people have asked about Richard Dumas. He's in my team last year. There he is. Jared Mustaf, Ed Neely. Ed Neely's the cutoff. Marty Conlin, a lot of people don't know. He had a better career with Milwaukee. He's the cutoff here. There's Michael Cage. I like that Michael Cage. What do you guys think of that Michael Cage? Has the hair flow and everything. Looks good to me. Derek McKee is in. Dana Barrows. Fully agree, Costas. It looks great with the filters. It really makes it like you grew up, watching. It makes it look like that. Yes, I don't know how to get in touch with Benoit Benjamin. I think he has social media that I found, but I don't. I'd have to go back and look at my sheet to see. I wasn't sure if he was in, and I was actually asked to wait until the game released before I contacted more players because they didn't want to have confusion of which players were in, which were out, and as far as payments go and stuff like that. So they wanted me to wait. So now that he's not in, I'll just double check to make sure he's not like on the list waiting to be added, and then I'll reach out to him. Tellis, it looks like Tellis. Oh no, Luke Longley is the cutoff. They messed up Luke Longley's hair last year. I hope maybe we'll fix that. Good to see Sam Mitchell finally in. Tony Campbell, good score and all that. No problem, Midwest. Ala Abdenabi. It's funny that they use one face here and then they use a totally different face somewhere else. Enos Watley is the cutoff. Watley was a point guard, but okay. I think so, Kostas. I think that they'll add players because they put so much emphasis on this eras mode. I think you'll either see something similar next year or they'll maybe change some of the years up a little bit. But if I was 2K, what I would do personally is do a Kobe mode. Have the Kobe challenges take over for the Jordan challenges, but still have the Bird Magic era, the Jordan era, the Kobe era, and then add something else behind that, like the LeBron era or whatever. That way it takes you all the way through with Kobe through the mid 2000s, late 2000s, all that stuff with the championships and all that stuff. And this should have been MVP at least once in 0506. But anyway, I think that's a good way to do it. That way they can keep the eras mode, flesh these rosters out even more, and then go maybe somewhere a little bit different the following year, maybe change the years up a little bit. But anyway, Victor Alexander, good to see him. Okay, found an error. I should have caught it earlier. Mitch Richmond was actually traded opening night of the season before the first game started for it was Richmond and Les Jespin for Billy Owens, and then Billy Owens, Les Jespin, and Mitch Richmond all did not play until the third game of the season for their respective teams, the Kings and the Warriors. So the 2K messed up here. They should have Richmond on the Kings and Billy Owens on the let's see if I can do that. Yep, sure can. Perfect. Awesome. So you can just do that there and then save it as a season, or save it as like a regular roster, and you can export from there. Um, all right, that takes that. That knocks those out. All right, everybody's wanting to see the Kobe era. Okay, here we go. Oh, Greg Buckner is in. They had the All-Star game. I can't read the All-Star game question because it cuts it off. I'm looking at it on my TV. I'm not on my screen, so it won't read it across. So I'm not sure. I know they have the '88 All-Star game in. I don't know the rest of the stuff. Looks like the cutoff here is Mark Bryant. Tim Thomas is in with a render. Nice. Ronald Murray has a render. He was in last year. Jamal Sampson's the cutoff here. This is obviously opening night roster, so Ray Allen didn't get traded yet. This is one of my favorite teams back in the day. Never amounted to anything, but I was so hyped when they traded Elton Brand for Tyson Chandler and had the baby Bulls, and then they brought in, unfortunately, they had Tim Floyd and Bill Cartwright and all that mess running the triangle. So, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, we got Marcus Fizer with a render. For some reason, I don't know what's going on with my comments, but they're all coming through at once in weird orders. So I don't know what's going on, but if anybody's asking anything or saying anything, I can't see it because it's going back through whatever. I have no idea what order it's going in, but it's just all over the place. Ooh, Eddie Robinson is in. That's cool to see. Roger Mason's the cutoff there. Sagana Jop with a render. That's a good looking render of Sagana Jop. I'm sad because they don't have one of my favorite players to watch in high school. I was actually in high school at the same time. Was Jawan Wagner, Smush Parker, Milt Palacio was in, Darius Miles, Ricky Davis. They could probably maybe can't tell that Ricky Davis. Maybe touch that Ricky Davis up a little bit. J.R. Bremer is in. J.R. Bremer eventually got traded to Cleveland, I believe, that year. Shammond Williams eventually got traded to Denver in the Mark Blunt deal, if I remember correctly. Walter McCarty, they're short on this roster. Shammond Williams is the cutoff. Wang Zhizhi, or Zhizhu, whatever. 3-point shooting specialist. Keon Doling. All right, see, so there's Keon Doling, and he should be on the 12-13 Memphis Grizzlies to help build that roster up. CL2K just doesn't pay attention to that, so interesting. Melvin Eli is the cutoff. Michael Olowokandi. There's Pau Gasol. Anybody's interested, you can export him. Obviously, export player DNA. I don't know why it doesn't have description of how, but there's the Weber I did, but the other one is Pau Gasol. Let's see if I can get, it's older Pau Gasol, but I'll take it, I guess. That's weird. Whatever. Okay. Stromae Swift, good render last year. Brevin Knight has a render. That looks just like Brevin Knight, too. You can't tell me that don't look like Brevin Knight. Looks great. Brevin Knight is the cutoff, actually. Yes. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Wesley Person has a render as well. Good looking Wesley Person. Hawks. This is when the Hawks were awful. Jason Terry was the point guard. Actually, funny story. I met Jason Terry when I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club when I was in high school, and he came for a charity fundraiser. And one of the guys, Muhammad, was not my boss but supervisor, I guess you could say, and he was friends with somebody that Jason Terry knew, and so Jason Terry helped basically fundraise for that Boys and Girls Club. So got to shoot around in high school in my prime with Jason Terry, who literally Jason Terry's first step was like lightning quick. Didn't have the greatest jump shot at first, but really good player. He played at run and shoot a lot too when it was open in Georgia, and played there. I've actually played with Deion Glover. At run and shoot before. Very underrated player. Speaking of Dan Glover, there he is. Dan Dickow. DeMar Johnson. DeMar Johnson was actually hurt with the neck injury here. There's Antonio Harvey again. Antonio Harvey is the cutoff. Surprised they didn't try to get Alan Henderson for the Hawks here, but let's see. Oh, the Heat are light on players, it looks like. Fonzo Ellis is the cutoff. Vladimir Stepania, Travis Best. Courtney Alexander. It's a blast from the past. Bryce Drew is in. Looks like Matt Bullard is the cutoff there. Scott Pageant. Carlos Arroyo. Ooh, I hope they update that Carlos Arroyo. Jerron Collins, they could have easily gotten Jason Collins as render and just copied it, and they're twins. John Amici. Calvert Cheney. No Weber here, obviously. We talked about that earlier. Funderburk is the cutoff. Travis Knight is the cutoff here. Lee Nalen. All right, that's what they did. Figured it out. Kurt Thomas, they took the 80 overall here, copied and pasted it into the 2010, 2011 Bulls by mistake, I guess, or intentional, whatever. There's Gennaro Pargo, Thunder. Tracy Murray, great to see him. And Andrew DeClerc is in. Pat Garrity. Pat Burke. Pat Burke is a artist render as well. Burke is the cutoff. Same roster as the classic teams. There's Tariq Abdul-Wahad. If they put him lighter skin, that would have been a decent render. I will forward that info on. Brian Scalabrine is the cutoff. See, they could have just taken Collins and then put some different hair on him for Jerron, but is what it is. Kenny Satterfield. Mark Blunt. Mark Blunt looks like the cutoff. They're missing a lot of players here. Wow, yeah, a lot of players. Rodney White, Skeetish Veely, Donnell Harvey, Nene. A lot of players on this team. Pacers, Eric Strickland, Jonathan Bender, Fred Jones. Fred Jones is the cutoff. There's Pepe Sanchez, who's not a shooting guard. That's an artist render of Pepe Sanchez at that. I am going to change him real quick. Point guard at a Temple. Oops. That way I can add him to the Sixers Classic team. All right. Okay, 2K. Michael Bradley was white. They have him as a black guy here. You know, that's just interesting. Jelani McCoy, Lamont Murray, Lindsey Hunter, Mamadou Nadie. He's got a render. That's good. Nadie is the cutoff. Ooh, they got Moochie Norris, Mo Taylor, Joaquin Hawkins. Hawkins is the cutoff. Yeah, I'm going to go through and look at see if they have the free agents as well. Appreciate it, MJ Wizards. Shout out to you, man. Hell of a job on what you did. So don't want to go any further with that, but just you know what I'm talking about. Danny Ferry. Looks like the cutoff is. Yeah, I wish we would get a younger Jermaine O'Neal. Yes, Midwest King. He's on the Timberwolves, I believe. I'm going to get to him in just a second. This is the same team as the other. Joe Forte is interesting considering he sucked in the NBA. I know there was talks in getting Vladimir Radmanovic. Hopefully he'll be added at some point. I'd love to see Danny Fortson added. I'd love to see who else? Antu Cisse, Jerome James, Predrag Drobenjack. Those kind of guys added in, but maybe a while. There's Rod Strickland, Midwest. Anthony Peeler, Mark Jackson. Yeah, he was on that Spurs team when I went through the 91-92 team. I might have skipped around. I'm going to go back through the free agents. Glad somebody reminded me. I don't know who it was. Sorry, I can't credit you, but I'll look at the free agent pool and touch on those. Reggie Slater, Felipe Lopez. Lopez is the cutoff there. No, unfortunately, Andrew Toney's not in the game. I looked. I wish he was. I'm going to look through the draft classes just to make sure. Quintel Woods, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. The other Charles Smith, the 2 guard, has the face, my God, of the other Charles Smith. Interesting. Okay. Oh, Ruben Bunte Bunte. You guys remember Ruben Bunte Bunte? That's just funny to say to me. Anyway, yeah, he's in the game. Good to see that. Eric Dampier. That's a good Eric Dampier. I like that render. Bob Sir is the cutoff. Earl Boykins was not signed until a little bit later in the season. That's why he's not here. We're going to go check that free agent pool in a minute. Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards. MJ Wizards, I know you're ecstatic about this. You know, Thunder Shack, same with you. Obviously, you have done phenomenal work for years. You got me into PC when I had long been out of PC as far as your retro rosters. So, and then MJ Wizards, your work on the retro rosters year after year on console has just been amazing. So, glad to see this team actually come to fruition. Would love Kwame Brown at some point, Jahidi White as well. You know, but we'll see what happens. Bobby Simmons is the cutoff there. Do we got to go this way? The free agents. Yes. All right. There is Earl Boykins. Edmund Brown is fake. Pretty sure James Granger's fake. Rafer Alston. Jim Jackson, John Crotty. Ooh, Anthony Goldwire. Okay. Maceo Baston. Jeff Trepanier. He signed on to Denver later in the year, I believe, or was it Cleveland? I can't remember. Might have been Cleveland. Um, just looking through, doesn't maybe not anybody else. Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, they wouldn't be this low. All right. See something. Do they have the coaches? What do they look like? All right, they got Larry Brown, George Carl. I'm going to go back and do the other 91, 92, and the 83, 84 as well. So just hang tight, guys. Bill Cartwright. Paul Silas is in. Nice. Jerry Sloan. Rick Adelman. Phil Jackson. Let's take a look at that Phil Jackson. Nice. Doc Rivers, Don Nelson, Byron Scott, Isaiah Thomas, Rick Carlisle, Lenny Wilkins. That is hilarious. Love that. Rudy Tomjanovich, Greg Popovich, Nate McMillan, Mo Cheeks, Doug Collins. Wow. That's hilarious. Okay. All right, let's go back and do the free agent pool and the coaches for the 83-84 era. All right, let's see. Lionel Hollins is in. Eddie Jordan. Yeah, that is 80s, Doug, but I'll take it. Better than nothing. Might not be a lot here. I don't know that we're going to have anybody else. That was a short list, but at least they got a couple guys in there because they were signed later in the season, and so you can technically add them to the roster. Let's go to coaches. Billy Cunningham. All right. Where is it? All right. Billy Cunningham, Don Nelson, Kevin Lowry, or Lawfery, Casey Jones, Doug Moe is in. Wow. Lenny Wilkins again. All right. Well, let's see. And then the 91. Let's see here. Donald Royal, Ron Grandison is in. Anthony Bowie, Billy Thompson, Jaron Jackson. Might be it. Kenny Battle. Bob Thornton. Just looking through to see if I missed any. I think that's it. All right. Yeah, that's it. All right, let's see. Wes Unseld, nice. Phil Jackson, there's the older Phil Jackson. Or young, I should say not older, younger Phil Jackson. Lenny Wilkins. Kevin Lowry again. Jerry Sloan. Mike Dunleavy. Matt Gukas. I remember Matt Gukas as a player, announcer, and coach. So that's how old I am. Robert Henry is the head coach there. Larry Brown. Casey Jones. Rick Adelman. Don Nelson. Oh, you know what I wanted to look at? I thought they had a different coach on. I guess they didn't get him. No, they didn't get him. Okay. I thought they had a different coach at the time, but I could be wrong. Anyway, okay. Let's go into. You guys want to see the draft classes, I assume? Let's go to the 60 draft class. Sanders, fake. Lenny Wilkins is still in, so we can export him. Jack Ramsey, that's who I was thinking of. Thank you, Jackson Jackson. That's probably about it for. Looks like that's about it for this draft class. 65. Let's see who we get. These don't look to be fleshed out very well. Lawland there. How is he only a 69 overall? I don't think they put a ton of work into the ratings and stuff for the draft classes, I bet. Jojo White. Bingo Smith. Steve Mix, I saw. I'll go back through these and do a detailed breakdown, but I just want to go through and show you guys this because I told you I would. But want to kind of do a more formal breakdown of who's in. Yeah, I saw it, Midwest King. I don't think I can do anything unless I stream it from like OBS or something. I'm just streaming this from my PS5. So I don't think I can do anything. if you guys can report it, I don't know if you can report it from your end. Maybe that'll stop it. I can't do anything right now from my end. As I get into this more and stuff like that, I'll figure out OBS and stuff like that. And yes, they need to do it to where the real players are like higher rated, and then the lower players are like 70 and under or whatever, like the generic guys or whatever. Um, I can already tell they didn't add. Did I do 74? I don't know. Let's see. I think as we get more into the modern, like the 80s and like the 85, thank you, Midwest. Um, uh, like the 80s past the eras and things, I think that's when they updated the um, draft classes a little bit better. See Mike Dunleavy. I'm gonna go ahead and skip. Sorry guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip through and do 84 and up just to see what they did. Okay, Elijah's finally back in correctly as Akeem, so that's good. Jeff Turner, Jay Humphreys, Tony Campbell, Drum Kersey. McCormick, Jim Peterson, Ron Anderson is in. They did not rate these very well. Steve Coulter is in. Wow, okay. Nice. I would have never in a million years found Steve Coulter if it wasn't for my NBA knowledge, because like he's buried down there as a 68. Yeah, unfortunately they're not going to do Oscar Schmidt just because, I mean, obviously you know why, trying to get the likeness or the licensing rights and all that stuff's a little bit difficult. Well, a lot difficult on their part, I guess. Let's see, 85. Wayman Tisdale. Blair Rouge. Ty Corbin. Sam Mitchell. Michael Adams. That's not, they messed up there. They should not have put Harvey Grant like that. There's, oh Lord. Oh, there's Mike Brown. Hilarious. That Cedric Tony? Yes. Cedric Tony gets snuck in there. All right. Like I said, I'm going to have to go through like alphabetically and pull them from my sheets and really like highlight. So that's probably going to take me a day in itself. I'll have to do it Saturday. My wife is taking my son to her work for another kid event, and so she's like, "Hey, like I'm going to take him with you. I know you're, stuff you've helped work on and things like that. As far as 2K's coming out, like, do you want to have like the afternoon to yourself and you know gentlemen, if you already don't have a girlfriend or wife that's that great to allow you to have time for yourself and vice versa, um, I couldn't be any luckier than I already am. My wife always is, you know, not only makes time for me, but lets me have space as well as I give her space to do her own thing, and it just works out perfectly. So, but anyway, long story short, I will have free time on Saturday to really dive into this and make my spreadsheets really updated. I don't like the Dennis Rodman here is the Dennis Rodman with the hair. Can you change that? Should have been the younger Dennis Rodman. Yes, I saw Kenny Skywalker. William Bedford has a face. Ooh, Chris Washburn is in. Doesn't look like Washburn, but he's in. Good. They did Sabonis here in this draft. I wonder if he's in that. I don't think he was in the '84 draft because he. Those that don't know, he got drafted by the Hawks, and then because of I guess the way the draft was back then, he wasn't allowed to come over, and so he re-entered the draft in '86. So. John Williams. That is the bigger John Williams, if I'm not mistaken. That yes, that was on the the Bullets. Raphael Addison is in. Nice job, 2K. Drazen Petrovic, Greg Drilling, Kenny Gaddison, Anthony Bowie, Tim Kempton. I saw David Wingate. All right. What let's see, 1987. Dennis Hobson, Kenny Smith. Ooh, updated Kenny Smith. What about Chris Whitney, Axon Jackson? I'm sorry, I missed that. Is he in the draft class? I didn't see him yet. Okay, that changes like his weight, but that doesn't change his hair. That's a new render of Kenny Smith that's updated on the rookie Kenny Smith. People are used to the bald version, but that's the rookie. Derek McKee. More than likely, Razor probably working on that one. Yeah, definitely. If it's a Legends render, retro render, he probably worked on it for the most part. Not everybody, but I think for the most part. Greg Anderson, Winston Garland. Was he in this draft class? I don't think he's in the game. There's Kevin Gamble, who. So Kevin Gamble's here, but he's not on the 91. Oh my God. Okay. I will have to really do my research here because he's in the draft class, but he's not on the 91 92 Celtics. Oh, he was in the last one. Okay, thank you. I will go back and look at that. I'm sorry, I totally missed that. I've been up literally all day, took a small nap, and hopped on here. So. All right, let me go back. It was 86 he was in. I don't see Whitney. Yeah, I don't see Chris Whitney. Jake Whitney. There's Rex Chapman, Tim Perry, Harvey Grant. That's a better rating for Michael Williams for the Detroit Pistons. That's what it should be right there. Kevin Edwards, Jeff Grayer, Ryan Shaw, Grant Long, Steve Kerr, Vernon Maxwell, Vinny Del Negro, Winston Bennett. All right. '89. There's Danny Ferry again. J.R. Reed. George McLeod still with a terrible face. Dino Raja. Nice. Good to see Dino Raja in. Mid 90s Celtics. Kenny Payne. He might have been. Is he missing? Yeah, that George McLeod is terrible. That does not look like George McLeod. There's Kenny Battle. I don't think I highlighted him earlier. Let's see if Rod Strickland was on that. 88. There's Rod Strickland. '90 draft. Terry Mills is in the game. Bo Kimball. Can somebody please block that, report that bot, if you don't mind for me? Tate George, Tony Smith. Let's see, 91 draft. There's Billy Owens. Terrell Brandon. There's an updated Victor Alexander. That looks pretty good. Doug Smith, Eric Murdoch, Randy Brown. I always like to just double check the renders because, you know, yes, it's typing in numbers, but 2K shown in the past that doesn't always go well. Chris Corciani, LeBradford Smith, Elliot Perry. All right, 92 draft. Wait. Okay. Like, where is Shaq and Alonzo Mourning? Macy Murray. Ooh. Malik Sealy is in. Anybody that was wondering, Malik Sealy's in. There he is. Did they get Oliver Miller correct this time? No. Of course not. Matt Fish, Matt Geiger, Popeye Jones. Ooh. They got Byron Houston in the game. Yeah, I'm really going to have to dive into these later and really double check these and do my due diligence. What I'll do is I will make a separate, basically have the document that I have with the draft classes and make a separate one where I just take out the players that are in, and then just keep it that way, so that way there's no confusion there. What am I on, the 93 draft? Albert Shaney we saw earlier. Murasan's still in the game. AC Earl. AC Earl is in the game. Look at 2K. Terry DeHeer is in the game. Golly. Man, 2K really went all out this year to get players. I'll give them that. As much as I was frustrated in the past, they made up for it this year. I mean, we're getting all kinds of players. And I'm not as worried about it if like the ratings aren't reflective, because I'll edit that stuff anyway. But the fact that we get the players in the first place is what I care about the most. Yeah, there's nothing we could say that's ultra negative, really. This is definitely the year, I think, where you're going to see a lot of creators across the board really shine through. Like King of the Fourth Quarter, like, does his kind of let me sim this era and put this player here and like all that stuff. This is gonna be the perfect year for him, as well as, you know, new creators to come about, like, to highlight this stuff and put it into different modes and different rosters. And roster makers are really gonna go crazy this year with everything. What the fuck is that? Wow. I mean, everybody sees that, right? Luke Kennard. Jesus. Carlos Rogers is in. Nice. Wesley Person, you see that? Wesley Person has the wrong portrait. Let me make sure these players are the players first. Okay, they're correct. They're ending up with these portraits for some reason. Because I think what 2K is doing is they're taking the CFID and putting it as the portrait is the same, and it's throwing it off because the portraits would be different. Dickie Simpkins. Good point. Greg Minor. Nice. What are we on, 95? Malcolm Cage is the center. That's hilarious. That would be a better Kurt Thomas rating for the 2010 team, the Bulls. Tyus Edney's in the game. Randolph Childress is in the game with a render. Wow. Crazy. Cherokee Parks. That's a good Cherokee Parks. David Vaughn is in the game with a render. Fuck. Andrew DeClerc is in with the wrong. Oh my god, I'm going to fix these. Is that UC? Michigan's Jimmy King? Wow, Jimmy King is in. The epic 1996 draft. Let's see. Let's look at Iverson. They should have used young Iverson. Oh well. Okay, Kobe Bryant's in. Jermaine O'Neal, same thing. Let's see. Let's just double check. Yeah, no. Thought they'd have the cornrows at least. Tony Delk. Oh my god. Okay, Tony Delk has the picture there. Malika Rose. Walter McCarty. See, okay. Now you can see where 2K ran out of time. They basically took the players and just copied and pasted them. Uchi Norris. Jason Sasser is in. I don't think that's the Chris Robinson I'm thinking of, but that could be. Travis Knight. Adrian Griffin. All right. Yeah, this is insane. Tim Thomas. Mark Jackson. Oh, jeez. Copy and paste. Brevin Knight. Copy and paste. Mark Blunt. Derek Anderson. John Thomas. Copy and paste. Wait to see if they had anybody else. Yeah, I don't understand the copy and paste and not taking out the ID of the portrait, but so be it. Jesus. Does nobody review any of this stuff? I mean, that's hilarious. It'd be great to have like a diamond in the rough player just out of nowhere where it's like, oh wow, they got him. There's a few and far between there. Let's go to the 99 draft. All the known names there. Copy and paste. God. No render showing for Wong Juju. Devin George. Deion Glover is a copy and paste. Tim James is in the game. Okay. I thought that was going to be Sean L. Scott. Quincy Lewis is in the game for the Jazz and the Timberwolves. Lee Nalen's a copy and paste. This was the sorry if that was a little loud. I bumped my mic. This was one of the years where I think it was one of the worst draft classes. Oh, copy and paste again. Tell 2K was in a rush. Is that Desmond Mason? Yep. Mike Miller. Okay. So Mike Miller won Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. He's a 71 overall here. Okay, that makes sense. DeMar Johnson. That does not look like DeMar Johnson. Eddie House. Wrong portrait. These are not well done. I mean, I'm glad that they had the players in, but they just did not go back through and fix any of these. Like to just say, hey, let's have somebody, let's pay them, $15 an hour, and you can go over these draft classes for a couple hours. Khalid El-Amin. That's awesome. Anybody remember Khalid El-Amin making the rookie sophomore game and then being cut like a couple weeks later from the Chicago Bulls? I thought that was hilarious. That's how weak that draft class was. All right, that's that. Let's go 2001. Pau Gasol, Gilbert Arenas, Tyson Chandler, Jason Richardson, Tony Parker. Alvin Jones from Georgia Tech is a 75. Alvin Jones was like a second-round pick that year to Philly. How in the hell? I don't understand. There's Eddie Curry, who's a 74. Would love to see Eddie Griffin in the game one year, by the way, if they could ever get him. I know he was a private person and all that stuff, so who knows, but Michael Bradley is the wrong skin color again. Was that Joe Alexander? Josh Alexander. That's a different one. Joe Alexander was like 2008 anyway, but never know. Just kind of jobs, so copy and paste. I think that's all of them. Yep. So 2002. Yao Ming, Stoudemire. Why are these random like people so high? So far not that great. This is one of the not great draft classes. They need to bump those ratings up on those guys. Smush Parker's way down there. I know. Yeah, he's rated at 75. That's what I'm saying. They don't check this stuff. They want to innovate and put stuff in, which is great, but you got to double check. It's attention to detail. I'm not perfect by any means, but I mean, come on. You know, it comes down to, do you want to have it? Okay, they got LeBron James as a rookie, the younger face. That's at least correct. They got Melo with the braids, Bosch with the old Bosch render. They couldn't even put the braids render in. I guess they said, man. Just came in, I saw. Here's Darko. Travis Hayes, Luke Ridnour, who literally got traded like 8 times in 1 year. Kyle Korver. Is that Marcus Banks? Is that who I think it is? Wow. They got Marcus Banks. Do they have Troy Bell? Because remember that trade? That did not work out well for literally either side. Barbosa. That's pretty much it for those. See if anybody slips through. Nope. 2004. Devin Harris. Good to see Devin Harris in. Jameer Nelson. Beno Udra. Anderson Varejao. This draft class is kind of light. There's Royal Ivy. Durrell Wright. Terrible copy and paste again. Yeah, this draft class wasn't very good. 2005. Hopefully they still have Lou Williams in 2005's draft. Bogut. Ooh. They got Raymond Felton. Nice. Charlie Villanueva. Gerald Green. Everybody should be happy. So you got Gerald Green in the game. I know a lot of people are fans of his. Monte Ellis. Jared Jack. Salim Stoudemire. Ersan Ilyasova. Robinson, Ronnie Turioff, Lou Williams, perfect. Marcin Gortat is in the game. Nice. Dejon Thompson is in the game from UCLA. I always see Byers and I think of Derek Byers. All right. What year are we on? 2006. If it wasn't so late, guys, and my son and my wife weren't asleep, I'd not be as less talkative. I'd be a lot more talkative and engaging. So I apologize for not being able to be ultra loud and enthusiastic and stuff like that. But I have to kind of keep a little bit of quiet since it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning where I am. So, Millsap's on the game. That's good. Reddick. Sean Williams is in the game. Craig Smith is in the game. That's a better Patrick O'Brien. They should have used this Patrick O'Brien and moved it over to the Warriors. Steve Novak. PJ Tucker. Back when PJ Tucker was like out of Texas and drafted by the Raptors. Rodney Carney and Ronaldo Bachman. That's not. I could have sworn he was drafted later. Am I getting that wrong? Was Bachman 2006? I thought he was like later than that. Yeah, I can go back and do a timestamp in the description, but it probably won't be till later tomorrow because I got to get some sleep a little bit later. I got to take my son to school and do some work, my actual job, and then hopefully get a little like a nap, power nap or whatever. But I can do it. I can go in and at least separate out the draft classes and stuff like that. Like maybe timestamp it. Can't promise anything, but I'll try. Oh 06. Okay, so he was 06. Okay. I was thinking it was later for some reason. I don't know why I kept thinking 2008. Appreciate that, Hunter. You as well. Yi Lin. Rodney Stuckey. It looks like an updated Rodney Stuckey, by the way. Maybe not. Aaron Brooks, Corey Brewer, AC Law is in the game. Anybody remember when AC Law played over Steph Curry and then he played for the Hawks and everybody thought he was like going to be this awesome guard and he just never panned out? Julian Wright is in the game. Okay, so Julian Wright's in. That's another one, Thunder Shack, that could be added to the list for the 07-08 Hornets. Carl Landry. My solo podcast, Hunter. Daquan Cook, Rudy Fernandez, Aaron Aflalo, Jamario Davidson. I saw him play live, and he was a monster in high school. I think there's. Hunter. Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it. It's just me talking. I don't know how tuned in people would want to be to that. I do the Loop City podcast with the same guys that I used to do the Unquestionably Raw podcast back in 2016. It's me, Gonzo Star, Coach Matt, and Rad Rim, Mike Skills. We all do the Loop City podcast. We kind of do a wide variety of stuff with it now. I don't know that I'm all that interested in just talking. I would really like, I guess if I was going to do a separate podcast on the side, I'd probably do a 2-person podcast. I just got to find a second person that is that like super extroverted and all that stuff, because I'm not the oohs and ahs and extroverted and all that stuff. I'm more of the get to the point, the simple facts, boom, 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 and move. I appreciate that, Midwest. Um, what am I on? 2008? I think so. The Loop City podcast. Go to Apple or Spotify and type in Loop City, LoopCity, and then it'll pull up Loop City. More of the recent stuff we've done is like entertainment stuff and things like that. So maybe that's not something you're into. But the guys, I wasn't on the last one, but the guys did a good job covering the Donovan Mitchell trade. We're going to get into the NBA previews, not this weekend, but the following weekend. This weekend, we're going to record, actually, probably Saturday, we're going to record a double podcast. We're going to do wrapping up what we think of NBA 2K23 in various areas. I don't play Park and all that stuff, so I'll cover all like this kind of stuff. And then, a mixture of stuff there. And then also Cobra Kai, reviewing that as well. So OJ Mayo, yes, with J.R. Smith's picture. Gallinari. I want to look at Gallinari for a second. Did they have the old Gallinari where you can do... No, I guess once they update the render, it's updated. Ibaka, DJ Augustine. I remember watching this draft live. I was on vacation. And I was with a bunch of friends, and they wanted to go to one of the outlet malls, and I wasn't really keen on going because I always watch the draft with a bunch of food and just kind of watch it by myself and all that stuff. And they were adamant about going, and they're like, "Hey, come on and go." I was like, "I don't really want to," and then I gave in or whatever. And I was walking into the mall, and like some reason, like God knew that I love watching the draft. And the first store on the left-hand side was a sporting goods store, and the guy had the draft on the TV. And literally from the first pick through the middle of the second round, I stood and just, chit-chatted with the guy for however long it was, 2 hours or whatever. And all my buddies were making fun of me to this day about watching the draft standing in the middle of a store. Yeah, it's a skinnier version at least. Let's see. Most Spates. Okay, guys. This bugs me. Omar Ashik is in the draft class, and they don't have him on the Bulls. Wow. That's crazy. I'm going to export this just in case. That's crazy. So they have them available, but they don't even add them. Jeez. JaVale McGee. If I miss anybody, throw it out there. If I go over them and highlight it, or so I can highlight it, I guess. That's insane that they have Omar Ashik there and they don't add him to the team. It's a shame. What are we on 2009? They got Tyreek Evans. They better have Tyreek Evans. All right, awesome. I'm going to export Tyreek Evans. Okay. Brandon Jennings. Ty Lawson. James Johnson. Jeff Teague is still in the game. Pat Bev. I thought that was DeJuan Blair. Tyler Hansbrough. Eric Maynard. Is that Jermaine Taylor that played in the NBA? Yes. Jermaine Taylor that played, let's put me on the spot. Houston, I believe, off the top of my head. I think that's it for that class. I still can't get over Omar Ashik being in there and not on the team. Yeah, I saw Eric Maynard. Loop City podcast. Yes, Hunter. I'm just a co-host. I don't host it anymore. So you may not like it as much as, the solo stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure what your preference is, but Avery Bradley is on Whiteside. Bielitsa. Boban. Larry Sanders. That might be it. It's like an orange picture. It says Loop City is like orange background with white writing, I believe. Hunter, to answer your question. What do we got? 2011. They weren't kidding when they said that there was hidden gems throughout the draft classes. Kemba, Clay, Jimmy. Tobias. As a Sixers fan, I have a love-hate relationship with Tobias Harris. Chandler Parsons. That's an updated Chandler Parsons render. Reggie Jackson. Davis Bertans. Isaiah Thomas. Alright, that's probably it. Like I said, I'm going to go through these and really like comb through them when I have more time and more sleep. Deion Waiters. Everybody's always like asked about Deion Waiters being in the game. There he is. Jared Sullinger. Tomas Satoransky. Tyler Zeller. That's probably it. 2013, right? There's Cody Zeller. Michael Carter Williams. Ben McLemore. I don't. Was Campazzo drafted then? I don't remember that. Nicola Melli. You know what? Let me look at something. I'm trying to remember what year he was drafted. Was it 04? Seeing Childress sparked my interest in he's not in. Anybody know off the top of their head, or can look up what year Josh Childress was drafted? I can't remember off the top of my head. I was just curious to see if he was in. I did that one already. 2014. I didn't see Anthony Bennett. So Jabari Parker's still in the game. That's good. Rodney Hood. Nurkic. Now that we're getting later in the thing, we're not finding as many hidden players, so to speak. Childress was 04, that's what I thought, and I didn't see him, so they must not have him in the game. That's what I looked at first. That was my guess off the top of my head. I couldn't remember. I think he was 04, and then 05 was who Sheldon Williams. It was a disaster for the Hawks. Or Marvin Williams, maybe. And Sheldon Williams was the next year. I can't remember. I always forget the order of when they got drafted. It was just terrible draft time for the Atlanta Hawks franchise. Imagine if they took Chris Paul or Darren Williams. Yeah, I'm not really finding anybody hidden now. Sam Decker is still in. But I'm not finding anybody like that Omar Ashik. That was crazy. Kind of hoping I find like a Patrick McCall, um, Jody Meeks, or some different ones that can fill in some of the classic teams. Oh, you know what? I didn't see Michael Beasley. Speaking of Malik Beasley, I didn't see Michael Beasley in either. Peter Cornelli. Here's Jake Lehman still in the game. Gabriel Lundberg was, I don't remember him being in that draft. Cat Barber was not in that draft. Yeah, now they're just throwing people in here. Maybe they were draft eligible at that point. Is that Zach Levins Jr.? Yes. How do they get Zach? Interesting. All right. Let's see. 2017. As we get later in the draft, they're going to comb through them a little bit better. Semi Ojale. And probably pick out who they don't want to have in accidentally. Yeah, Vlatko Konchar should not have Taco Falls. Dang. Okay. Ish Wainwright does not have a face, but that doesn't mean that his face isn't in for the current teams, as we've seen previous. The faces aren't always correct. Damian Dotson, Thomas. Yeah, these aren't. I'm not finding anybody. Just trying to see if they like snuck a player in or something that shouldn't be in, so to speak, but it doesn't look like it. Kaboka is still in. He's missing his face. There he is. I was going to say the game will crash if you don't update their faces. Jacques Landau has a scan. Haywood Highsmith. I'm going to go up to the 2019 draft, and then I'm going to go back and skip through. I'm going to go back to the earlier drafts and just see if I can find any hidden guys. There's some of the overseas guys now. O'Shea Brissett still does not have a scan. Neither does Moses Brown. What about Tyler Cook? He get a scan? Nope. I know Conchar did. There's Juwan Morgan. Kyle Guy's still in. I mean, there's like endless possibilities that you guys can utilize with these draft classes now. This is insane. Like, just to have the faces in general. Like, let's do, I think I stopped at 76 draft. Maybe not. Maybe they didn't do much. I thought maybe they would have cleaned them up, but I guess not. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Let's see. They put a little effort into this one, but not much. Yeah, they didn't put a lot of effort into they mainly did the 84 onward draft. I'm gonna look at the 83 draft just to be sure, but looks like the 84 draft going forward. Okay, no, they did 83. So they added Stepanovic. Scooter McRae is in the game. Ennis Watley, Pietrowski, Michael Holton, Tony Brown. Bob Hansen's in. It's kind of hoping that we'd have like somebody hidden in here, but I guess not. Well, that's it. Interesting. All right, let's go look at one more thing, and then I'm going to get off here. I'm going to look at the coaching staffs for the teams. Actually, let me go to the free agent pool first and look and see who they have. Mason Jones doesn't have a scan. No scan for Keeper Sykes. Kevin Pangos doesn't have one either. Nothing for Cassius Winston. Just curious. I don't expect these guys to get updated, but I was just curious to look through just to see. Marcus Howard finally gets a face cam, but too bad he's out of the league now. Do they update Kyle Guy, or do they keep him? You know, they keep him with that crappy haircut. Ty Wallace, Dakota Mathias got a little bit of an update. That's not a scan. That's a face update at least. Xavier Simpson, Gabe York. Yeah, they didn't bother with the scans of the other guys. Let's see, did they update Frank Jackson? Nope. Doesn't look like it. Lundberg's the same. Devontae Smart's the same. They probably didn't really touch on these too much. Kaliadzakis. Most of these guys are overseas, are going to be in the G League anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I like to go through them anyway. Just give them a look. Malcolm Hill is actually on a two-way with the Bulls, so he needs to go there. Somebody asked about Yves Pons on social media. He does not have a scan. Renora. Same Reggie Perry from a couple years ago. KZ Akpala should be on Sacramento. No, Moses right. Malik Fitz got a scan. Looks like. Yep. Paris Bass. Did Cheatham get a scan? No, they kind of updated him, I guess. He still got these insanely high ratings for Ennis Freedom and all that, but at least they knocked it down a little bit. Sheik Ellis, I never sees. I figure most of these guys will have generics. All right, I'm going to wrap it up with the pretty much everybody's seen the current teams, I reckon, because they there's a bunch of videos showing those. Like somebody else has already done it, so I don't want to keep doing it. I just want to look at something. I don't think you can. Yeah, you can't. And I'm sure if you edit it, it'll probably edit the draft card again. I'll try that later. Same pictures as before. Okay, wow. They have really updated these staffs. That's crazy. That is nice. All right. Anybody that's a fan of the actual real coaching staffs, I'm gonna have to really research this too, because they have faces for Dan Burke and Jamie Young, so I have to go in and get those IDs and send them over. Charles Lee does not look like that. Chad Forcier, Mike Dunlap, Finn Baker. Wow, that's crazy. Forcier and Lingarza and Baker should switch. Doesn't look like Chris Fleming. Sidney Lowe, Greg Buckner, JJ Outlaw, Antonio Lang. Wow. Luke Walton is in there. Mike Garrity is in there. Okay, they updated Ime Udoka. Larry Drew, Brian Shaw. Why do they have Brian Shaw? Dan Craig, okay. Brad Jones. Scooney Penn, nice, okay. They actually made an effort to fix these teams. It's crazy that they actually added all the staff they needed to. Bob Bayer is not African American. All right, they got those right at least. There's Jason Terry. Oh, they updated Will Hardy's face. Nice. Okay. I don't think that looks that much like him, but okay. Jordy Fernandez. Bosa, Doug Christie, Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, Larry Greer, Rick Brunson. Does not look like Rick Brunson. Chris Gent doesn't look like that. Phil Handy doesn't look like that. Jordan Ott doesn't look like that. Miles Simon. Can't have him on two teams. Sean Sweeney, nice. Quentin Crawford. Real Ivy, Brian Keefe, Igor Kokoskov. Nice. Jeez. It's not really Pierce's face. Oh, women assistant coaches. That's pretty cool. Not many people probably care about it, but that's pretty cool. Casey Hill, Jerron Collins. Another women assistant coach. It's pretty cool. They fleshed out the entire roster with correct coaches for once. Brett Brown, Darius Singila. So they have Singila's face. That's cool that they have him. At least you can have him in the game if they ever do add him. Kevin Young. This is pretty cool. They're going to have to fix Chip England. Kevin Burleson just went to the Rio Grande Valley Vipers G League team. And Anisha Curry isn't there anymore. There's Ron Adams. Nice. They're missing Kenny Atkinson. Wrong Mike Miller. Oh boy. No real coaches. Let's see. Casey Jones. Doug Collins. Lenny Wilkins. Phil Jackson. Mike Dunleavy. Rick Adelman. Phil Jackson. George Carl. Jerry Sloan. Greg Popovich. Mike D'Antoni. Nice. Pretty cool. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. They have a lot of good stuff. I'm definitely gonna have to dive deep into the draft classes and dive into the coaching staffs and get that feedback over to 2K. Hopefully it helps. But appreciate everybody hanging out. Sorry, I was pretty quiet towards the end, but hope you enjoy the content. I will try to do another stream tomorrow, and from there, basically, hopefully, I can have uh, some of the draft class stuff already put together to do the second stream as well. Um, hope everybody enjoyed it. Please, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the video. Um, also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to keep content up every couple days. Um, and from there, please, if you can, when I tweet it out on Twitter, um, if you can retweet it, and that way it lets everybody know if they haven't already subscribed or like, they can view the video. Just trying to build up subscribers and all that good stuff on the channel. But appreciate it, everyone. I know this is a long stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got everything out of it that you wanted to see. Thanks again, and talk to everybody soon.